But I kind of got high-sided, and I went down the drainage a little too far there. I know I shouldn't have went because it gets really steep and narrow. And next thing you know, the bottom came out from under me. I went down, about 10 feet of snow fell on me.
What's up, guys? It's Josh with Paparazzi Imaging and Films, back with the Vignette Podcast. As you can see, we have Blair Murphy. This dude shreds in the mountains, a talented mountain rider from Canada, right?
From Canada,
nice.
Yeah, from BC, yeah.
BC.
But I'm originally an East Coaster. I moved 10 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, so like most of the mountain riders now that come from the East, I came from the East because, the calling of the mountains.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
So how has that been for you, like, being able to, you probably just go outside your garage, or do you?
Yeah, like I live at 4,000 feet in a town called Kimberley, BC. So we can't quite go out our back doors. Police won't let us.
Yeah.
Because I got to go right by the cop shop, and they frown it. But I'm like 5 minutes. My riding area is 5 minutes, and then my club riding area is like 20 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I honestly, on a big snow day, you could probably get away with going out the garage.
Right.
Nobody's out because there's snow everywhere. But it's I'm very fortunate.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
That's badass.
Yeah.
You're like one of the dudes that just is like taking it to the next level. Obviously, on social media, you're doing a whole lot, and connecting with you was like kind of awesome in a way for me because I've never really like talked to mountain riders. That's a whole different discipline.
You're the snowcross.
Yeah, it's a wholly different discipline. But
for me, I know snowcross because of you. Cause like we were talking the other day, man. Here comes the tea, man. You always know the goods, and that's really how I follow.
Right.
Yeah. And then like I said, the SeaTac TV guys. Yeah, they're from my hometown, so I watch them all the time.
Yeah, they're a good group of guys.
Yeah, they got good chemistry.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's big into snowcross too. He's big into everything. He races himself.
Yeah. Takis, he was. He does like engine work and drag racing. You got to be multifaceted in this industry to make a living.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So when did you get into like snowmobiling and stuff like that?
So I was a skier.
Oh.
I was a skier. When I lived back in Ontario, I was always getting. I love the ski movies. I love to show how awesome these sports are, right? So I would go and get those Warren Miller videos.
Yeah.
And, he was the grandfather of this all, like the filming part, the narration, his storytelling is just bar none. Until one day, and it was like 2003, 2004, there's this DVD, at Blockbuster or whatever video store it was. Yeah, I don't know if you guys know what Blockbuster is, but
OG.
Yeah, OG. There was a Thunderstruck video.
Yeah.
These mountain guys just going up these chutes, Stan Davidoff, all these guys, Brad Story, and I was just like,
you're hooked.
I was just like, and I was far off from ever being there yet. I had to go through some trials and tribulations to get me there, and once I had the opportunity to get out here. I worked out here, out west, and I was flying back and forth. And I just told my bosses, like, dude, I'm just going to move out here. I'm sick of going back and forth, right?
Right.
And, my first snowmobile, I took a bad loan to buy a bad snowmobile.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I bought an 06 Dragon 900.
Jeez.
Literally almost sunk Polaris, that snowmobile. It was just bad. But I sort of learned how to work on snowmobiles, because that thing never ran.
Right.
I had so many times my girlfriend picked me up off the side of the highway because you ditch banged back in Ontario, right? Yeah. And I'm broken down. My ski's gone. I can't even afford two skis. I just need one.
Oh my God.
Craigslist. It was where the boys wouldn't even take me anymore because they're like, that thing's gonna break down.
Right.
That should be.
You're a risk.
Yeah, you're a risk. You're just a day killer.
Yeah.
So I moved out west. Me and a girlfriend took the dog, and we rented a place. Didn't have a ton of money, but then I broke my leg at work.
Ooh.
I got a little bit of a settlement.
Yeah.
And what does a wannabe snowmobiler do when he gets money?
Yeah.
He goes right to the dealership. He's like, oh, I want that sled right there.
Yeah.
And I bought a 16 Access, first year of the Access. So I was lucky. I didn't have to go through the wedge sled stuff, it was a learning curve for me. You know, I was still a skier. You know, I wanted it for ski access.
The short break is brought to you by our fine friends at CNA Pro Skis. Whether you're on the mountainside, looking to elevate your riding skills, or even just outride your buddies, CNA has stepped up the game and made the new standard for mountain riding skis. The new TMX ski is going to make your sled handle the best out on the mountainside. Scott Iyer, Jaden Ballard, Hayden Troop, and Mav Walker all ride on this ski. And we all know that you guys know these exceptional riders on the mountainside. And they have a handful of other skis for different applications, from snowcross, watercross, trail, and any other application that you are looking for. Hit up caproskis.net and get yourself a brand new set of skis, and custom skis at that.
But the guys that I skied with soon realized that I didn't want to ski anymore. I wanted to ride my sled, so I had to find some, you know, sledders. Right. And I found, you know, if you didn't have your avalanche education, they weren't going to take you. Right. You know, so that had to come. You know, that's very important. You know, you have to learn how to move through that terrain safely. Right. Yeah. And
it's dangerous out there.
Yeah, absolutely. If it's not the, you know, the avalanches, it's the tree wells.
Right.
Or it's other riders.
Right.
Or you mousetrap yourself. You know, we've lost, you know, Ken Block to the mousetrap. You know, and it happens quite frequently. I've moused my trap tons of time. You know, so.
Even the most experienced riders, you know, like
well,
Kincaid,
mistakes happen, man. Yeah, they, you know, old school rider Dan Davidoff, he was one of the premier chute climbers in the world, and he was just going to check the cabin. Mm-hmm. He went on his own, you know, you shouldn't do that, but he was the experienced guy just on the trail, and he was wiped out by a massive slide. Jeez, yeah, you know, and it was just, he was just going to check on a cabin. Right. That's it. But that's, you know, that mountain's trying to kill you at every turn. Right. You know, so moving, that's why the safety is so important, right? The communications, the beacons, the radios, knowing where your riders are at all times, stuff like that.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, even when I went out west, like Idaho, to shoot for CNA, it was like a whole, you know, setup. We had the beacons, we had to check in, you know. I was just like, holy crap, this is you know, this is cool in a way of like, the safety is that much higher, you know, because I've never been in the mountains. Wyoming, you know, but that's
the rollers. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
but like, you know, but things can happen on any slope over 30 degrees. Right. It can slide. Right. You know,
for sure. I wasn't that high up. But still, it was like, it was still cool to know that, you know, the safety is always the top concern.
Yeah, you know, and we learn the safety through losing legends of the sport, experienced riders. You know, I first day I got my turbo, my 22 turbo. I was with a bunch of riders, you know, and I caught a line, and you just, you know, you don't want to stop. You know, I was pulling away from them, and I made the climb right through. I got it on my YouTube. Go check it out. I shortened it up, and I was coming back down. But I kind of got high-sided, and I went down the drainage a little too farther. I know I shouldn't have went, because it gets really steep and narrow. And next thing you know, the bottom came out from under me. I went down, about 10 feet of snow fell on me. And I was just panicking. I couldn't get the snow out of my mouth. And what do you do once you get the snow cleared? You suck in as hard as you can, all the snow down my throat. Finally got my head out. I had my Insta running. I had to bleep it out, screaming for my life.
Yeah, for sure. That's a scary moment.
I didn't want my mom to hear that, right? You know, and I finally got out, and when I caught my, you know, breath, I was just like, man, I almost died. But you know, I was away from my group. But if the sled was teetering 10 feet above me, if it had fallen on me,
you would have been gone.
I would have been gone.
You wouldn't be here right now.
Wouldn't be here right now, and that's how fast stuff. You know, the greatest moment of my life followed by the shittiest moment of my life. You know, and I've had some shitty moments.
I think we all have at some point.
Right. Yeah. So.
So. Earlier, you're telling me that you're going to move to Sicamous for the winter, right?
Yeah, so I live in Kimberley, and, you know, but I'm still 4 hours from Revelstoke over a mountain pass that is super dangerous.
Yeah.
And then everyone flocks to Revelstoke, Sicamous.
Right.
You know, all the top guys, you know, and listen, I'm 45 years old. I'm never going to be like a pro factory rider, but I want to be a filmer.
Right.
You know, and, you know, you got to be around the like-minded guys that want to do that kind of stuff. You know, I ride lots of guys that just want to ride.
Right.
They don't want to film, which is cool. You know,
Right.
I catch them on a GoPro or the Insta360 or whatever. Sorry, not GoPro, Insta360.
We're not trying to plug
right,
here.
Right, no plug here. You know, so and I've rented a place off Bryce Cardinal. He's another YouTuber. He bought a big place. So me and Jill, the dog, you know, Jill does my editing. So, you know, she's going to be there every night, you know, so we'll just come back to the place. You're there.
Yeah.
You know, being around like-minded people really helps.
Right.
Yeah.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
You got to be around, and you got to be close to those places. You know, who wants to drive 4
hours?
Yeah.
And I've had people call me, hey, man, I'm in Sicamous, I'm in Revy. I'm like, listen, man.
That's too late.
Yeah, it's like I can't just get there. And, you know, that pass is dangerous.
Right.
You know, I'm running 2 sleds.
Especially in the winter.
In the winter, you know, studded tires, you got to do it. But it's not so much your safety. It's the main highway that crosses Canada. So all the transport trucks, all the thing. And you could be the safest driver in the world.
Right.
And be wiped out by transport, right? You
Yeah.
know, and that's, you know, I'm like, I just can't do it. The road conditions are just not good. If it's, you know, springtime, the roads are dry, I'll be there in 4 hours.
Right.
You know, for sure.
Yeah. It's like that show, Ice Road Truckers. Or whatever.
Yeah. So I work up in the Yukon,
Yeah.
you know, for Fireside Minerals, and I've probably put on 100,000 kilometers on the Alaska Highway, driving back and forth. Yeah. So I think I'm a safe driver.
I think we all think that, right?
Right.
Jeez. So what's kind of going back to the riding part? What's been your most memorable moment of riding?
So I'm fortunate enough to
besides the avalanche coming
yeah.
down.
So you know, we have some pretty special places in BC. I've had the chance to go to Chatter Creek. You've ever heard of Chatter Creek? It's a cat skiing operation in north of Golden. It's mostly for skiers, but they open up last 2 weeks of their season to the snowmobilers.
Nice.
Yeah, you know, the skiers are all gone.
Yeah.
They let us have the place, you know.
Nice.
And when you get sledders together, it's a different group of people.
That atmosphere just changes.
So, you know, I was fortunate the people that I work for, Drew and Gemma, they've taken me along because it's a wait list.
Right.
It's, you know, it's either passed down the father, the son, kind of like Packers tickets.
Yeah,
you know?
Oh my God.
And so I got to go, and it's a magical place. It's all open glacier riding, and you're up to 10,000 feet, all the way down to 3,000 feet, all the way up. And if you can see some of my videos. It's a magical place. It's, you know, it's mostly for the skiers, but for 2 weeks a year we get to go, and you can get downhill pow turns in your face. You know, that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah,
you know,
that's a good slow motion.
Yeah, you know, and as a filmer, you know, hold on, 4K 120 or 8K 60 if you really want to crop in.
Right.
You know, and for me, as a filmer, it's about motion.
Right.
For me, just watch the guys dance on the sleds. You know how they move.
Right.
You know, for me, it's about motion. You know, and it's really captured my passion. It's given me everything.
Right.
You know, like I struggled through life when I was younger, and it was not and I needed to fill that cup that was empty.
Yeah.
You know, and sledding did that for me. You know, I finally found peace in my life. You know.
Right.
And then the filming came because I wanted to share. I'm like, this changed my life.
Right.
It could change somebody else's, right? You
100%.
know, so and then I quickly found out the camera equipment's just as expensive as the snowmobiling.
If not more.
If not, you want to get real high end.
Yeah.
You know that. You know, it can get you into. You know, if you really want to spend, you could be into the hundreds of thousands. You know,
so
thank God for the rental places.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
For sure. So, aside from the riding, you really enjoy the filming.
Yeah.
And, like, is that your long-term goal?
Yeah, I think I want to
riding?
be a higher end content creator. You know, Jill's learning, you know, we use DaVinci Resolve.
Yeah.
You know, I want to be, I don't want to so much be a vlogger. You know, I'm out there every day.
Yeah.
You know, I'm out there, but I really don't like the sound of my own voice.
Who does?
Yeah, you know, and I don't want to commentate while I ride. You know,
Yeah.
Muskoka does that. Does awesome job. So does Turcotte and all those guys, Bryce. I want to do the higher end filming. I want to learn, the higher end edits, and and eventually I sort of kind of want to make money.
Hey, isn't that everybody's
dream?
Right,
because Captain Chaos was a business. He'd probably be bankrupt.
Yeah.
I'm in the red. Yeah. I make a couple dollars here and there to help out, but the sponsors really help out.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Nice. So, have you done any riding in the States, I guess?
Yeah, so I go out to, I like to support the Boondock guys.
Yeah.
So we are a bunch of us guys, we go down to the out West Sled Fest.
Oh.
Yeah, that's always a good time,
So you were there this past?
Yeah, this past year, yeah.
Dang, I'm so jealous.
Yeah, and then I went the year before. I think this year I'm going to change it up. I might go to Utah. The solid guys there in Utah.
Yeah.
So, I want to go get that terrain, but the snow's got to be good for me to travel.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Who wants to ride?
I'm in BC, right?
Yeah.
I'm in my backyard. I've been riding there 10 years. I still haven't seen everything. And that's just in my East Kootenay area. Then you got the West Kootenays. Then you go up to Revelstoke. Those are, the Monasheen Mountains.
Right.
And that's a whole different area. And then you got the Coast Mountains. And then you've got, up north, which, it's mostly too cold to ride in the winter. So you go there, but they get snow.
Yeah.
Well,
you're higher up, right?
Yeah, you're higher up. You're up north. Down south, you get the moisture. But when you don't get the moisture, it doesn't snow.
Right.
And it can get dry.
Yeah, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, it's, I'm very fortunate. I have winters off.
Yeah.
So I don't work in the winter, so I can be choosy and picky where I want to go. A little snow snobby.
Yeah. I'm going to hashtag that one.
Right, snow snob. Yeah. If the conditions ain't right, I'm not going.
No, absolutely. And this winter kind of it's
been a struggle. Yeah, last winter I spent most of my time on the road chasing bad snow.
Yeah.
Yeah, at home was no good. I never rode my home area, I think, until February 1st. And my first ride was November 14th.
Whew.
Yeah, we go to the West Kootenays early season. It's called I shouldn't say where it is, but
top secret.
Top secret, but there's no rocks.
Right.
It's in a big open meadow, and it gets early season snow, 3-4 feet. And then it's bottomless. We call it A-arm season because, that's what you'll lose.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
So do you like riding more so in BC or here?
No, I'm BC. That's where it's at.
Hardcore.
I find in the States is you have to ride at really high elevations.
Yeah.
10, 12,000, Colorado guys.
Yeah.
Now I know why Turcotte, Brent and those guys run those turbos.
Yeah.
You need it,
man.
Need it, and their snowpack is different. It stays so cold at that elevation that it doesn't really set. So there's no base.
Right.
We're in BC. The snow, we have that warming cycle of snows.
Right.
You get that base. So you got, honestly, for most people, you don't need a turbo. Don't get me wrong, they're nice.
Yeah.
And they're great on deep days, but you get good traction, and we have some local guys that, they've grown up riding there. My buddy Sheldon, he likes to beat up on us with his NA. He's one of the best shoe climbers in the world. You've probably seen some of his stuff.
Probably.
Yeah. And he likes to beat up on us on his NA.
Oh, man.
He's like, "Hey, are you guys coming?"
Slow pokes?
Yeah. So, but, me and my buddy Alex Hansen from Sled Farm Films.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's a Polaris ambassador. We're big turbo fans, but he comes from the street bike world.
Oh.
And, he was going to, I'm going to kill myself with one of these. So he got on a sled. And the way he rides is to the bar, full tilt through the trees, narrow. He's got those lines down pretty good.
He's a tree climber.
Oh yeah, and fast too, fast. He's not dancing.
Yeah.
So he's pin it to win it.
Right.
And he's a great filmmaker. He knows. He's used sound design.
Yeah. I've seen some of his stuff.
It's So once I got involved with Alex, that's when the filming really, started to pick up. I started to learn. He saw that I had an interest in it. saw that, you know, I had a pretty good eye for it, you know, and he's nurtured me along, and, you know.
Yeah.
So we kind of filmed together.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have your own style, too, when it comes to filming and creating stuff.
Yeah, so I learned from a guy a long time ago, and he goes, if you want to do this film thing, yeah, the visuals are great, but you have to make somebody feel something.
Yeah,
that's the whole thing. Emotion is everything. It's not all. Don't get me wrong. I like the hard driving. This is the snowmobile industry. These are all horsepower pigs. I get it.
Yeah.
But to make somebody feel something that, you know, that I feel, you know, you got to relate. You know, you got to put that through the screen, through the storytelling, right? Yeah. So.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like a lot of people are definitely going in that direction as far as like storytelling, making the person feel, you know, the imagery, but it's like getting overplayed too much, you know? Because realistically, how many clips of video can you watch that's in a cinema setting?
Yeah, right. 100%. Yeah, absolutely. You know, like, and that kind of filming takes time, effort, you know, pre-production, on the mountain, you need the right days, and then post-production, you know, and then if you want to put sound design in, all those kind of, that takes, it's daunting. Like, that's why I had Jill do it, you know, because, you know, I sit in the producer chair and I point, you know, as much as I watch DaVinci Resolve, I should know how to use it, you know, but she's back there behind me, you know, doing the key, you know, and the key framing and all that stuff. But yeah, with sound design, it brings it to a whole different level. Every movement has a sound, right? And it takes a while to, you know, if you really want to do it well. But with the storytelling things, like especially for the marketing in this thing now, it's not about just me telling me about the product and someone paying me to tell you. We got to show us using the product in our everyday and thing, and those stories will sell that product because you're using that product.
And it's more of a personal feel too.
Like,
you know, people, like you said, you could tell somebody about the product, but really, is it really you?
Or,
you know,
are you just doing it because they're getting it? You getting it for free,
or whatever? It's like, okay, you gotta make it feel real in the sense of like, oh yeah, we just put this product on our sled and we're gonna go ride it, you know. And then after that it's done, it's like you got a riding clip, you know what I'm saying?
Right, 100%.
So then it's 100% you. It's not just like, oh yeah, we got a product here, we had it on the shelf, blah 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 blah.
And I like to like when I want to go with a company or you know they want to go with me. It's about the people behind the product. You know, that's what Jimmy from Bikeman, the guys from Tubi. All those sponsors, they're all good people. They're all industry people, you know. We're getting a little bit of rain, eh?
I know, for real. I hope the cameras are going to be okay. I should check them real quick. Hold on.
Yeah, no, it's...
Why'd that one turn off? Oh, no. This camera turned off for some reason. We might have to do that over, or it's just going to be you.
Hey man, we can do it over. I'm game. Like I got nowhere to be. Yeah.
I do. But
you do. That's right.
So it's whatever, but it's all good. It's all good. I don't really want to do it over. Do you?
No, we can go from here.
Yeah. It's just going to be you, really.
Right.
The first half
you
of
can
the
cut
video.
me in. Yeah.
It's
okay.
all good.
It's all good.
But where were we stopped at?
We were. I even forgot.
Yeah, no, me
I have
too.
A brain of a squirrel.
I think it was more so the product.
Yeah. So like with the spot, like when I starting to put stuff on social media, there wasn't much sled content out there, right? I started a little bit before Muskoka, and what he's done with the social media, and he's literally where you want to be, where you want to get to. And I think Matt's success comes from just being that normal guy that was going out sledding with his dad,
right?
In which this sport is built on fathers and sons.
100%.
Even on this side, on the East Coast, same with the West Coast.
Right.
It's fathers, sons. That's and Mac's success he's authentic, right? He doesn't have any pedigree to come from, and you get those everyday riding videos from him, right? So all of a sudden, back in like 18. I think it was 18. You know, I was just putting out videos. Never, you know, I bought my first Tubi outerwear suit. Cost me $1,400. But, you know, I had to be warm and dry out there, right?
Yeah.
You know, and that's what they... And then all of a sudden I got this email. I thought it was fake. You know, I was like... And it wasn't, you know, I thought the sponsorship was only for the most talented riders.
Right.
You know, all the big snowcross guys, all the big jumpers, you
right.
know. And yeah, and I was just like, wow, you know, and then bikemen, they all came right away, and then backwoods.
Right.
And they all, and I was just like, okay,
yeah.
I guess I'm into this now, you know, this is what this is now. But I really try to show value.
Right.
You know, they believed in me. You know, I try to do my best to purvey their product.
Right.
You know, like backwoods, I smash into shit all the time. All the time. I'm the best product tester for them, man. I'm like...
True R&D.
Yeah, true, you know. Yeah, Chet, I broke another one.
Jeez. Now that we're out of the rain.
Right.
Do we have enough room here?
There we go.
So... where did we end here?
I was just talking about showing value.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, you know, for anyone that like wants to get into this, obviously talent, you know, you have to be able to ride.
Right.
But with the advent of social media,
right.
everything is filmed now. And
100%.
you know, when you become a business owner, you have to become a creator.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to pay someone to do that. And early on, nobody has money for that.
No.
You know, just, you know, just to get a second shooter, like I like to pay people, right? You know, I don't want anyone to do anything for clout or, you know, what's that word they use? Exposure.
Yeah.
You know,
I love that.
No, you know, camera equipment costs a ton of money. Mm-hmm. You know, your time, you know, your effort, you learn those skills, right? So
100%.
You know,
even though YouTube is free.
Even though YouTube is free, yeah. Well, I almost made $74 already.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, it's a grind.
You're a freaking baller over here.
Yeah. I got that Muskoka money.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Jeez. So yeah, how like working with these like big time manufacturers, how is that as like you, because you spoke on it earlier that it's like you got to that point of like now you can represent companies. Like for me, it's so cool to be working with a company and say that, oh yeah, I've gotten to this point from where where you started is like, man, I wish I could be there, and then you're there and it's like, holy shit.
and for where I was going with my life when I was younger, you know, I won't touch on it, but if you like Theo Vaughn,
oh yeah,
I have very similar stories back in the day. So to see where I am now, I got to pinch myself. I'm very grateful for all the stuff that I get and I work for, and the relationships that I've built with these companies.
Right.
You know, I got to pinch myself. I get to ride every day in the winter. You know, I'm getting older and I get a little sore, so I'm not quite riding 100 days a season anymore because
that's a lot.
So, you know, 50, 60 days, you know, I get to pick my days, but I still want to get after it, right? You know, I think that's what the key is to, you know, I want to get after it, you know. It's where it's where everything gets quiet for me. You know, that, you know, they call it flow state.
Yeah.
But
you getting rained on?
That's all good, you know, I'm not going to melt. It's actually pretty nice on the back.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Right after being running all the way here.
Yep.
Yeah, when you call me on the golf course, I'm like, I gotta go. Sorry,
all the way from the swaps.
Yeah, and I ran from the swaps.
Jeez.
Yeah. So, but to get back to what we were talking about, actually, I forgot now.
It was getting to the point of like,
you know, where those companies are believing in what I'm doing,
right?
You know, and you know, I'm using their products, you know, and it helps me because. Honestly, this sport is extremely expensive. And if you're doing it, you know, 50, 60 days a season and you're on the road and you're not really making any money doing it, you know, the sponsors are a huge help, you know.
Right.
Huge help, you know.
For sure.
Hopefully one day, it'll start turning into the green, but, you know. But for me, it's not about the money. It's not about, you know, sponsors are nice and everything. But it was so life-changing for me.
Right.
So appealing. And like I said, it fills my cup.
Yeah.
You know, with healthy things. You know.
Absolutely.
You know, It ain't any cheaper. But
is anything cheap these days?
Nothing's cheap these days. You know, post COVID is. You know, I think we live in a different time.
Right, and I'm sure the currency from Canada back here is not good.
It's not exchange rate. Like I was paying for something the other day, and I was like, well, that was about $75 Canadian, and it was only 50 American.
Oof.
Yeah. So the exchange rate going to the States is a luxury for us Canadians. Like I said, I like to support the Boondock guys, and I go down to their event, and it's super fun. And the gas and the exchange rate it's killer.
Yeah, for sure. I couldn't even imagine. Like me, I went to Valcourt this past winter for snowcross, and it was like, it hurts a little bit, with the exchange rate, but it is what it is. I gotta, obviously I have a job to do, and I gotta be 100%. There, so it's like, I can't really complain.
And I want to get where you're at.
It takes a long time, man. I've been doing it over 10 years.
Yeah, and it's honestly, the post-production is where the magic happens. Don't get me wrong, it's got to happen in the field, right?
Right,
but
100%.
But if you can really learn how to edit, and really learn how to tell a visual story,
right?
You could write, especially now. This is a legit. And you could do it on your own. You don't have to follow the Hollywood route or go to film school. But don't get me wrong, if you want to do that.
Yeah.
But you can self-teach or get a mentor, to bring you along. And sky's the limit. Everyone needs video production.
For sure.
And nobody wants to do it.
I know.
And if you're good at it, you could really name your own price.
For sure.
If the budgets are there, you can name your own price.
Yeah, that's like the biggest thing is like when I went to Idaho, Scott Iyer was like, dude, if you can really nail down how to ride a sled in the mountains, your production value or your price tag just goes up, And I'm like,
100%.
I'm down with that because that is a whole different field of filming, and sky's the limit.
Yeah. Especially in that backdrop.
Exactly.
Like I know, I think the original media guy was David McKinney.
Yeah.
He had to go out there and he had to learn how to ride, if you're going to work for 509,
I think that's in the job description.
Yeah, 100%, right? And I think he's from out east here.
Yeah, he's from Minnesota.
And he's kind of trailblazed the media thing, right? He's the 509 guy.
Yeah.
And he's a great filmmaker, and then that's he's a great visual storyteller.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. He brought 509 to a whole
new level. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I think if I'm right on this, I do believe he started in snowcross.
Yeah. Well, it's all we had out here, right?
Right. Exactly.
Like I remember when I was younger, going to Spirit Mountain, and that was, and they had a little bit of a snowcross in Lutsen, Minnesota, which is just over the border from my hometown.
Yeah.
And I just seeing that. And don't get me wrong, this is back in the day. This is like Kyle Klooster days, like Blair Morgan days.
Right.
Way back in the day. Now it's, you spawn I don't know, it's on TV.
Yeah, flow racing now.
Yeah. And it's a whole thing, man. Like it's it's a whole thing.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. It's and watching those snowcross guys hitting those bumps, man, and then watching the GoPro footage and getting the spray in your face, man, and having to keep your wits about you,
right?
And driving hard. Those guys ride hard, man.
Yeah.
Everyone, the mountain guys, oh wow, climbing those mountains, but man, I don't think I could do the snowcross thing. I think I'd eat it pretty hard. First corner I might get through, first big jump, I'm eating it.
Come on, man. I'm sure you do bigger drops in the freaking mountainside.
I'm not much of a launcher, but the dropper I'll do. Yeah. I'm scared of heights. As much as you would think.
You're in the wrong field, brother.
I know, and I've been hanging off cliffs, and I'm like, for me, I'm not comfortable in the air. Right. When I'm doing the drops, I'm like, okay, I don't have to launch. I don't really need brake and throttle, right?
Yeah.
I'm just falling off it and hoping for the best.
Yeah, you're not going over big.
And don't get me wrong, you're around the right people that can, that's why like the clinics that Turcotte puts on and all those guys, they'll teach you to jump.
Right.
And you can go as big as your balls will let you go.
Yeah.
But they'll teach you the speed, the building of the ramps, building of the jumps, because that's important, right?
You got to have a good lip.
Because if it goes wrong, it's going wrong.
Yeah.
And you could die.
Yeah.
And you're, and having a good crew, especially medic crew or whatever, that's good at first aid. And because, you can't always rely on search and rescue.
Right.
You have to be self-sufficient out there.
For sure. Yeah. It's a whole different animal.
Yeah.
And when I was out in Idaho and Scott Iyer jumped over a road, it was like he rolled up to about probably a handful of times before he did it, and he's done it previous. And
he's a pro.
Yeah. And even for him, like, doing that was huge, Yeah. And he was super excited, and I'm like, dude, you got more balls than I do to do that.
And he's comfortable in the air. He's got style.
Yeah,
he's got style, and that little trifecta that they got out there of Freshy's Couillard there.
Yeah.
Those boys, I met Jaden 6-7 years ago in Spokane at a show, and he was just starting Freshy's Couillard there, and they brought on Hayden and obviously Scott. Like, to have those three guys, a filmer and two awesome riders that all want to be. Sky's the limit for those guys.
For sure.
Sky's the limit.
And don't they have a premiere drop-in this weekend?
They have a premiere drop-in, I think it's Hayden's film. He's the filmer. And a good rider,
CF2,
too.
I think, right?
Yes, yeah. And I think they're going to do it in a power hour.
Okay.
For Backwoods, they do the power hour, and Backwoods is invested big time in filmers and backcountry riders, and they got to sell a lot of bumpers.
Yeah.
They got to sell. That just goes to show you how many trees we hit.
Yeah, no kidding.
How much we fuck up shit.
Yeah. That's all good.
Yeah. And they're a huge success story.
Right.
Hard work and determination, and a good product, good marketing.
You're right.
And invest in the industry.
Yeah.
And it's worked out for them.
For sure. Yeah, I see Backwoods all over the place.
They didn't put the balloon up this year because they steal it all the time.
I know.
And they'll cut it.
Yeah.
And plus, he steals all the helium from around here. You couldn't get helium. Probably in I don't know. We're working in miles here.
Yes, not kilometers.
50-mile radius. He took all the to fill that balloon. Yeah.
Just to fill the balloon.
Yeah.
Wow.
And of course, he's always got to be an idiot, right?
Yeah.
Wants to steal it.
That's crazy. That's gonna kind of suck. Well, doesn't 509 do the same thing? Don't they have their own?
Yeah, I think.
Well,
I don't think they can all put their balloons up because all the helium would be gone. It's a lot to fill them and keep that thing up for a couple days, right?
Yeah. It's a 2-day event here.
2-day event. Yeah.
Do you stay the 2 days?
I'm here. Oh, I came Wednesday night and I'm staying till Tuesday.
Oh, nice.
Just because we play golf, you know, and I have friends here now, and if you roll in on Friday, it's just not enough time to see everybody, talk to everybody, and I feel that when you get pulled in a million different directions, I can't get people my full attention.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that 100%.
Yeah.
So you're really here for like a whole week?
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah. I just did 24 days in a row up in the Yukon, 16-hour days, just getting my butt kicked.
You're a savage,
dude. That's what it takes to pay for sledding.
Yeah.
You gotta grind in the summer. I work for a company of sledders. They're mountain sledders just like me.
That's badass.
They've inspired me to ride. They pay me enough money to do it. And it's you grind hard in summer, and you got all winter off.
Yeah,
but
badass.
you gotta work.
Right.
Like nothing's free in this world.
Absolutely, nothing is free. You got to work hard for it.
100%.
That's sick.
And it's more rewarding when you work hard for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't get me wrong. Everybody has opportunities in this life more than others. But it's what you do with those opportunities.
Absolutely. And when they're presented to you.
And to capitalize when they're presented.
Right.
And knowing enough foresight. Okay, is this going to be a good deal for me, or is it not going to be a good deal for me? Because I've turned down deals, and I'm like, it's just not my fit.
Right.
It doesn't fit for me, and I'm not going to be that guy who's just going to represent 100 different companies.
Right. Your sled looks all muddy.
Yeah, it's got enough stickers and stuff on it, and then you can't, when you stretch that thin, You can't give everyone your attention, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to find that happy medium.
100%.
You know, and I find that in snowcross a lot. A lot of people want to work with me. I'm just like, I can't do it.
And you're just one guy.
I'm just one guy.
Yeah,
I do it all.
Yeah, and and then you want to bring on employees,
right.
and second shooter.
Right.
Third
Last
shooter.
year I had that.
Yeah.
I had my baby girl was born last winter.
Right.
And it was the weekend of going to Deadwood, South Dakota.
Okay, yeah.
And I couldn't go,
Right.
so I had to find another filmer to take my place and another photographer. So and then I decided for him to continue with me at the last couple rounds of the season, because I came back. I think it was the weekend of Valcourt and then New York.
Right.
And he went out with me, and then he finished out the year. I don't think he did one. He didn't go to one race in Sioux Falls, but taking on another person, I wanted to see how it was. Yeah. And it was definitely a different experience.
Yeah, because you have your eye and you're the way you film.
Right.
I love the way you film. Use that flat color profile.
Yeah.
And I like that. It's gritty.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're going for.
Yeah. Yeah. I do a lot of color grading, but sometimes I do the flat profile.
And it's fine because you got to know the technical equipment, but you also want to be an artist. And you want to, and it's also yours.
Yeah.
And you want to purvey your thing, and it's tough when you get someone else that has their own style.
Right.
And working together, that's why I think me and Alex work pretty good together, because I love the style of filming.
Right.
That's what I want to do.
Right.
That's how I want it. He's fast paced, that ramping, and it brings you along quicker. Like we spent 2 weeks on the road together filming for Let's Ride BC, which is the BC Snowmobile Federation thing. So they're like, dude, this is not your sledding videos.
Right.
You're gonna keep the skis on the ground and you're gonna promote these, these riding areas, these clubs.
Right.
And I was just like, I'm gonna do it my own way.
Yeah.
And
you ain't gonna tell me what to do.
Yeah, okay, we'll keep the skis on the ground, the pow turns and whatever.
Right.
But it's really bringing you through a sled trip.
Right.
And doing it where you can keep somebody's attention.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest thing, right? Is we're just scrollers, right? And
on to the next.
On to the next. And he does that with that ramping, and the drone, between the drone, the truck, he loses a lot of sound design. And I think we did a great job, but, 2 guys in the truck for 2 weeks together, you probably didn't want to see each other for a bit.
Right. No kidding.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But then he had to go do all the work.
Yeah.
And I 400 hours of editing.
That's a lot.
Yeah, but that's what it takes.
Yep.
And he's a perfectionist, right? I'm sure he went and cut it a million times, right?
Two or three different versions.
Yeah, 100%, right? And then you got to go to the client, and maybe they're not happy.
Right.
And then you got to do revisions, and
100%.
Yeah,
that's the tough part. The editing is fun because then you got to piece it all together.
Right.
But I think for me, I have more fun actually filming the stuff now so than I do editing.
Yeah.
Because I've gotten to a point where I could just drop and drag. All right, I know what color profile I want. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you learn those skills.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's only so many effects that you can use over and over again that everybody else is going to start to use.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Transitions.
Yeah. So it's like finding different angles, I feel, is way more beneficial than actually editing,
Yeah.
And if you work the camera harder, the editing process is a lot easier.
Because you filmed it, how you're not just dropping it off to an editor who hopefully has your same style and and you can do that. You could send your footage overseas and but
hire somebody
I've never
on
done
Fiverr.
it. I've never done that because I heard it comes back,
all wonky.
It comes back not that good.
Right.
But
I think you answered the phone call.
Oh, I did. Sorry, hon. We're in the podcast. Gotta go.
Nice. Oh man.
But so like I was saying, it's your own baby. You want to nurture it.
For sure.
and if you want it to be your own, if you can afford an editor, you can afford, like Brandt and Dan Adams, the OGs, they're making money from the industry. So, they don't got time to film nothing.
Yeah.
So they can bring on like Blake Media. He does all brand stuff, and I've watched 3 different filmers go through brand stuff, and they all have different styles.
Right.
You know, where Blake, he can ride.
Yeah.
You know, he's keeping up with some of the best.
He's a good friend of mine.
You know, he can keep up with some of the, you know, best riders in the world,
right.
and convey it.
Right.
You know, hey, get up there as high as you can get,
right?
And I'll come blasting by you.
Yeah,
but getting up there is it's a whole thing, right? You know, but that's what you got to do,
right?
You know, and that's what I think those guys are looking for. You got to be a good rider, good filmer, good editor, and that's just about coming. You're riding all day,
right?
Getting your butt kicked,
yeah.
You know, and especially at that elevation, and then you got to load the footage.
Yeah.
You got to dry out your stuff.
Yeah.
You know, and then you got to load it up. You got to edit it. Well, everyone's drinking and, you know,
having a good
time, you know, but they all want, you got that footage. You got that footy. You got that footy. I'm like, listen, like,
it takes
time, man. Yeah. But I like the smiles on the face. I watch people's reactions when they watch my stuff or they watch Alex's stuff. I watch people's reaction for emotion, right?
For sure.
That's you know, you're making somebody feel something.
100%.
In the end, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially on the filming end.
Absolutely.
You know, we create our own feelings through that. You know, and trust me, they're up and down.
Yeah.
You know, I've gone through every emotion possible because it took me a little longer to learn how to mountain ride. You know, I was a skier. I rode out here a bit. It's trail riding, and just to learn it. And the thing is, there weren't clinics when I was, you know, coming up.
Yeah.
You know, and I had to tag along with some of the best mountain riders and try to keep up.
Right.
And I'm like, this can't be that hard.
Right.
This can't be what it's like.
Right.
You know, and then, you know, I'm like almost crying. I'm like, this is some bullshit, man.
Dude, that was me in Idaho.
Yeah. And I'm like, this is some fucking bullshit, man.
Right.
I'm like, how are these guys? But once you get it, once it starts to click, don't get me wrong, it's still going to be a little bit of time, but once it starts to click and you learn flow state and you learn to not look at the tree, look trees past it, you know, and honestly, it's just seat time,
right?
Throttle control and brake control.
Yeah.
And once you learn those things, don't get me wrong, it's still gonna suck sometimes.
Yeah.
You know.
And it's a lot of body position on the sled too.
Yeah, and you're
you know?
moving around all day long.
Yeah.
And the top guys, they throw the sled. Look at Caleb. Caleb's built like a brick shit house.
Right.
But you know, he throws that sled around like it's a toy.
Right.
You know, and he's pushed the sport to new heights. You know, but that took dedication.
Yeah.
You know, he's been at it a long time.
Yeah.
You know, before he got big, he was at it a long time.
Right.
You know.
Well, just like anything, like you were saying earlier, you know.
Through hard work.
Yeah.
You know,
hard work.
And he's now enjoying the rewards of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. And I think that's like, my girlfriend has a thing in our house. It's like, what does it say? It says, like, you got to be patient. But if you're not patient, then the fruit isn't worth it. You know,
you
it's not
gotta let it ripen.
Yeah, you gotta like just take your time and develop, and then you know the sweetness will be there. You know, you can't just go at it. You know, and that's like, it's kind of funny that we're talking about that because I feel like that's me in a sense. Like I like to just go full bore, and then I got to come back to real life and be like, I can't do that. I got to take it slow. You know, like mountain riding. When I went out there, it was like, all right, I got this. You know, you got to.
But confidence, you already had that confidence.
Right.
I got to get this. You know, and that's half the battle. If you lack confidence, you're going to get frustrated. And when you're frustrated, mistakes are going to happen. They're going to happen often, and then you're going to get hurt.
Right, and it's like you got to have confidence in the sled too. You know, like
and that's where that brand loyalty comes in.
Right, exactly. No kidding. Yeah, I was around a great group of guys, and they were like, "Dude, you got this." You know, and like I was on a sled that had so many miles on it, like 30,000. I think it was. And it was an 800. I'd never been on an 800 before.
Right.
And just being in deep snow, I was just like, holy crap.
Yeah, it's a workout, man. It's, you know.
Just a couple tips, too, like side hilling, getting on
cross
one
steering.
leg and cross steering.
Brake and throttle.
And it was just like a game changer. And I'm like, holy shit, you know, I could actually breathe a little bit, you know. And I told Scott, and I'm like, dude, I want to come out and ride with you. Would you like give me lessons? He's like, dude, just come ride.
Yeah,
you know?
and that's what the thing with those guys, man. And most mountain riders, you know, don't get me wrong, you're not going to get in the elite groups right away, you know, because they're pushing hard, they're pushing far. But the only way we're going to grow the sport is bringing new people in.
Right.
And yeah, in the mountain sector, we kind of think we're special.
Yeah.
You know, because it takes a special kind of person, a special, you know, a lot of money, you know, a lot of time and a lot of effort to do it. But if new people want to try it, and you know they're not getting it, you know, you got to tug them along.
Right.
And you've got to be positive with them.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to get better.
Yeah. 100%.
It may get worse, but it's going to get better.
Yeah, there's always that flip.
Yeah, you know, and I've seen some breakdowns out there.
Yeah.
Myself, you know, and I ride with a lot of husbands and wives. Mm-hmm. That's where you want to know about their relationship.
Yeah,
it really comes out on the mountain. I'm telling you.
Oof.
Yeah.
No way.
I'm just like, I'm gonna go over here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you guys have it out, right? And it's not about the sledding. It's never about the sledding.
Right.
They just bring that from the home onto the mountain, right?
Let that shit go, man. Let that shit
you know,
go.
I'm here. I'll figure you guys shit out, and I'll be back.
Yeah, no kid.
Yeah.
Let me know when you want to hit some trees, and we'll go.
Right, 100%. Yeah.
You know, I read a comment a while back on, I think, a post of mine, or maybe it wasn't, but like, you know, my feed is always like snowmobiles. I grew up riding snowmobiles when I was the age, I think it was 1, my dad put me on a snowmobile. We went just trail riding and stuff like that. That's how I got into it. But there's people out there that are like saying that, oh, it was about the core freshie guys. And they were like, all you do is ride in the trees. You guys don't do anything else fun. And I'm like, tree riding is such a skill.
It's a skill that, okay, so.
You know? Like, who just wants to bomb jumps and, like, go side hilling? I want to see some technical shit.
And honestly, you see a lot of those videos up in the Alpine. Well, the Alpine's socked in most days.
Right.
You see those big sunny days in March where you get that big sky. 90% of the time, you're in the trees because you can't see.
Right.
And if you want to ride all the time, and then if you want to learn how to ride in the trees.
Yeah.
Put an obstacle in front of you.
Yeah,
Don't get me wrong, on a big pow day, I want to hit that metal just as much as any. But you also, the snow won't, don't get me wrong, it will slide in the trees, but it's safer in the trees because it's anchored to the ground.
Right.
You know, you got to deal with tree wells. That's why you kind of stick together, you know.
Right.
But
I was in one of them.
Yeah, it's scary, man. It's, you know, and you can die in them. And you're exposed up in the Alpine,
right?
To you know, big slides. In the trees, you're, you know, relatively safer. You become a better rider, and even on the foggy days when you're socked in, at least you can ride the trees because it gives you some depth of field.
Right.
If you're in the Alpine, you're going to die up there,
right? Because
you can't see. You can fall in a crevasse. You know, you can, you know, or just go over a lip.
Right.
And go forward on your sled. And that sled comes whipping around.
Yeah.
It's going to hit you in the back of the head.
And you're done.
And you're done.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. You know, and it's just not fun to ride blind.
Right.
You know, so that's where those tree riding skills, and those guys are fun.
Yeah.
They're some of the best riders in the world, man. Yeah. If they say they're not having any fun,
they
don't know shit.
Right, for sure.
Know?
Yeah, tree riding is a whole different animal, and I can't wait to get to that point. I can't wait to get to the point of, like, I could just go out and I don't have to really, like, I know my skills will be there, you know, and it'll take me to the places that these guys want to go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right, 100%.
And just, I don't know, just riding with freaking skilled dudes. You know what I'm saying? I think it'd be fun to ride with you.
Yeah. You're always welcome. Yeah, I got a sled.
Cool.
Yeah, I got lots of sleds. That's another problem.
Don't let me hop on that dragon, though.
No. You know what's funny? For a long time, my best performing video on YouTube is, so I sold that. My dad brought it out when my leg was broken, and I could never get it running. Yeah. So I sold it to about $1,000.
Yeah.
He paid a guy, he got it running. You know, he put some BMX bars on it, you know, big high risers. And he goes, hey, man, I got it running. You want to ride it? And I hadn't rode it in a ton.
Oh,
never in a mountain. So I was like, okay, but now I can ride a mountain sled. I've been at it a couple of years. I got on that pig. And it was a 900. Yeah, you know, good thing for the high bars. But I just took it out to like a cut block, you know.
Yeah.
Mountain riding, but just, you know, slopey.
Yeah.
You know, it was fun, but it had no balls.
Right.
But because of that old sled, I got, like, at the time I wasn't getting any. I got 14,000 views, and that was good for me at the time.
Yeah.
Because it was an old beater, you know. I got to ride it.
Not a lot of people see them.
Yeah, no, yeah, you don't see a dragon
They're
running.
antique,
yeah,
man.
they're antique in someone's back of the field, getting growing shit through it.
Yeah.
I got to ride it, and I realized I'm glad I came in the modern mountain age.
Right.
Because you got to give it to the old boys. I watched Brant ride that older chassis IQ sled, and he ripped it. And that goes to show how hard those sleds were to ride back in the day, man.
Right.
And that's where those guys working with Polaris, Skidoo, Arctic, they've told them how to build those sleds.
Right.
So I got on the Arctic this year, like last year. I got on the Catalyst, the 600.
Yeah.
And it's the easiest riding sled I've ever ridden. And for most people that want to learn how to mountain ride, get on that 600. And that's all you'll ever need for the first couple of years.
Was that an Alpha?
That was an Alpha.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know a lot of guys want it. I'm like, where's that twin rail?
Yeah,
Where's that twin rail?
kidding.
But to get on edge, especially for a beginner rider, it's just
Barely.
just turn the skis a little bit this way, and it comes right over.
Right.
And I found when I got in it, I was going through the trees 15 to 20 kilometers faster an hour. I don't know what that is in miles, but
I don't either. That's a big calculation.
yeah, and it was just smooth. It was like butter.
Wow.
I know Arctic's been falling behind for some
Yeah.
years, but they really got it. You match that with a solid turbo.
Oh,
and down that 858, I'm telling you, it's a weapon. That's a weapon. And yeah, it's. So hopefully, maybe I'll be an Arctic next year. We'll see.
Oh, dang! Don't let Polaris.
We'll see.
Them.
Don't get me wrong. I have a Skidoo. I
Yeah.
have Polaris, and I may get an Arctic.
Okay.
We'll see what happens this weekend.
Oh, dang!
Yeah.
Dang!
Yeah.
Some stuff. So some big stuff is
So
happening.
yeah. There's some things happening, and can't really talk about it, but
For sure.
That's why I'm here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And don't get me wrong, this is where all my people are.
Yes.
All in one place. No matter if you're mountain, trail,
Right.
trapping, wherever you're out there doing the same thing,
This
we're
is
all
power
like-minded.
sports.
This is power sports. Whether you do it on 4 wheels or 2 skis,
Right.
this is power sports.
100%.
It's all the same kind of people.
Right.
Yeah.
So what are you really looking forward to this weekend at Haydays?
I'm pretty. I usually have commitments.
Yeah.
I'm totally free this year, so I've come here with my buddy Dave and Jill, and we're just gonna walk around like fans.
Okay.
I got my camera now. I bought that Nikon Z8.
Yep.
That's really, I invested in that. I bought myself a Mavic Cine Pro 3.
Oh, nice.
So, but I blew it up.
You blew it up?
Well,
Oh, no.
I brought it to work, and we were filming I work at a mine, right?
Yeah.
So we were blowing the side of the wall up, and I was filming it. Little miscommunication on where the blast was going to be.
No.
I'll show you the video after we're done
Yeah.
here. And next thing you know, it rocks. And surprisingly, it stayed in the air.
Uh-huh.
And it took a pretty good hit. 2 props basically broke in half, stayed in the air.
No way.
Yeah, and I flew it back, and I was just freaking out,
Yeah,
right? I
yeah.
need this for this weekend.
Yeah.
I can't go buy another one,
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
They got
Hashtags.
so I fished out some rocks out of the gimbal. I ordered to Grant and Erica's 4 new sets of propellers.
Yeah.
Because I needed it, and then I fished the rocks out of the thing, and the gimbal seems okay, right? And that's the big thing, right?
Yeah, the gimbal is the most expensive.
Yeah, so. But that Hasselblad sensor is something else, man, because it does × 7 without really losing any quality.
Right.
And it's amazing,
Right.
I have an FPV drone, but I'm too scared to go into manual yet because I got the Mavic, if it crashes, that's it.
Right.
It's broken. It's not like the aftermarket drones
Right.
where you can just fix the arm.
Right.
So, I'll find sport mode, and it's fast and it's loud.
Yeah.
But getting into manual, I'm not there yet.
Yeah. I remember you let me try it out a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And
That's that same drone. And the Pro 3 is such it's more of a cinema drone, right? It's not the big cinema drone that they use yet. Like, I'm not there yet. And that's a whole thing.
Pricey.
Yeah, that's like Ross Robertson has one. And he,
you hook up an actual cinema camera to those.
You hook up an actual cinema camera, and one guy flies, one guy runs the camera.
Right.
And it can move pretty good, and the tracking, and then obviously in the log that it films in.
Right.
And you get a drone like that, you can start doing car commercials.
Yeah.
Get enough skills, and you can. But that's an investment.
Mm-hmm.
You could, unless you have the money or you're really passionate about it and you want to spend the money, you should probably start making money before you upgrade those kind of equipment. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I know, I'm like a collector on camera stuff.
Yeah,
I like
well, as I get into photography and videography and filmmaking, I notice everyone keeps their stuff.
Yeah.
But they'll put it on the wall. And especially now with social media, if you have a YouTube channel, whatever, see a little gear in the back. Like, I'm a big follower.
Overrated.
I know, the photos.
Yeah, oh my God, that
clown. They keep all the old stuff. Because, the new stuff is, you can get into it and, with a little bit of skill and a little bit of, YouTube thing, but man, you're working with the old stuff.
Right.
Like the film and I watch a couple of those old, shorts or whatever where they're using the Arri camera and they're putting in the film and they're putting it through and I'm like, don't even know what you're doing. I have no clue what you're doing. Yeah, no clue.
Oh my God.
But
you got to go back to school.
Yeah. Oh, you would have to. Yeah, 100%. You'd have to go to film school to really.
That's where I started.
You went to film school.
Well, I didn't go to film school, but my dad had an old Nikon. I can't ever remember the brand, the model, but it was a film camera. He bought it in Japan.
Yeah.
And that I went in high school.
Uh-huh.
I had a film class.
Yeah.
And I went and took the class and started my own website. Started film selling my own work and stuff like that. Yeah. And the guy was like, "I'm going to pass you because you're like way expected. Like you're doing
he had an
more
aptitude for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And so he passed me, whatever. But yeah, film is like kind of second nature to me. It's pretty freaking easy to do once you figure it out. If you do the dark room, setting up the camera. Obviously, you got to get the right film with the ISO, shutter speed, and all that stuff. Yeah. But the dark room is the most fun part of it
because you're physically bringing it out. It's a trade. That don't get me wrong. Like back in the day, it's like plumbing, electrical. It was a trade. It's still a trade, but you can pick up a camera now. You don't need a dark room. The editing programs are pretty. You honestly, your phone, if you're good, you can do some.
Just get a 70 to 200, put it on your phone, and you're good to go.
Right? Yeah, 100%. And if you're a skilled enough creator, you can just use your phone,
right?
But you don't get that depth of field, right?
No, absolutely not.
So you'll quickly find out if you're passionate about it that you'll want a bigger camera.
For sure. Yeah, like you said, it's an investment.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. 100%.
But I guess back on the topic of like here at Heydays, you're. I know the last time that we hung out, you had like a big thing at Boondockers. Is that happening again this weekend?
So I think they've combined the parties at Boondock Nation and Backwoods Power Hour. Yeah. I think Boondock used to have their own Pride. They may. Yeah. But I think they're good friends, right? And they sponsored them. They're just good buddies. I think they're just combined it because Backwoods has got a huge set. They took over one of the manufacturer areas.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So like those boys are doing well. Because I don't think is Yamaha here anymore.
Yeah, Yamaha's over there somewhere.
I guess it's their last year of their snowmobiles. Yeah. The end of an era.
Yes, it is.
End of an era. But the mountain market's changed so much, and that you don't need that big horsepower. Yeah, don't get me wrong. You can create great horsepower to that, but you can get it to the 2-strokes now. So
yeah, for sure. Between like supercharging turbos,
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. And even the naturally aspirated sleds now, most people, it's all they ever really need. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, that turbo is nice. that Wuhan whistle. Yeah.
I got to ride Scott Ayer's sled.
You did, eh?
For just like on the trail back. Yeah. I got to ride it because the sled that I was riding, I actually broke the A-arm on. I hit a tree.
That's par for the course.
Yeah, it was my first time in the mountains. It was expected.
100%.
But I got to ride his sled on the way back, and it was like cool to ride a pro sled.
Pro
with
sled
with
set up
turbo.
for him,
Yeah.
you know, and that thing hauls ass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the guys were really cool on that trip,
Yep.
and I had to do 2 up with a bunch of them.
Right.
And being 2 up on Scott's sled, on being
and he's standing
Hayden,
behind you. And he's weaving you up. Yeah.
He didn't weave, like, we didn't go up, like, in the trees, but Hayden, or I think it was Hayden.
Yeah.
Or Jaden. No, it was Jaden.
Yeah.
I was on his sled, and we were going up to the spot of where Scott did the road jump.
Yeah.
And he thought that I had to go up there. I was like, no, I just got to go on the road.
Yeah.
And so he's like, "Brah," and the skis are off the ground. And I'm like, looking up at the sky. I'm like, holy crap, dude, you are just spooling this thing. And he's like, this is fun to me, you know? And I was just like a little kid, just like, oh my God, this is gnarly. On a turbo sled, hearing that spooling, you know what I'm saying?
It's a life-changing experience and feeling.
Yeah.
You know, especially once you get it, you know, it gives you drive, passion, and purpose.
Right.
You know, and if you can get those 3 things down, you'll be successful.
For sure.
No matter what you do.
Right.
You know, it's sledding, side-by-siding, you know, trophy trucks,
Yeah.
any kind of thing. You know, and don't get me wrong, talent has a big thing, but with drive and determination, you know, you can become pretty talented.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's like you were just driven to
Yeah,
to ride
I was
snowmobiles?
like I said, my life was going in a different direction.
For sure.
And I had no purpose, and once I had that, I was a feelings person. I liked feelings.
Yeah.
You know, and that feeling was healthy.
Right.
You know, it was, and being out there, it calmed my brain down. It gave me a clarity I never had in my life.
Right.
You know, and a purpose, and yet, like, these sleds take you in the most incredible. I've been in some of the most incredible, like, with hikers and climbers. You know, they got to spend all day.
Right.
You know, don't get me wrong. That's a whole, you know, the Jimmy Choo thing. You know, he does some amazing things.
Right.
But I'm shit scared of heights. I'm not hanging off a rope off a mountain to get that feeling. No freaking way, man. I'll do it with a horse between my legs.
Yeah. Again.
Yeah. And that's a steel horse.
Yeah. Oh my God. Jeez, that's funny. So I guess I don't know what else you want to talk about, really.
I don't know. Did we cover it all?
I think we did.
Yeah, like for me, going going into the future, it's going to be the more high end edits. I think.
Yeah.
Once Jill rounds her skills out, you know, and stuff like that.
And that's cool that you have her to do that.
Yeah,
and help
so
you
because
with.
she doesn't ride, right?
Right.
So that allows us to connect on that level, right? You know, yeah, and I'm sorry. Most of the time, you may be talking to her on social media because she's faster at responding. I'm at work. And
Yeah,
stuff
you're
like
at
that.
work. Yeah, of course.
You know that. You know, don't get me wrong. We have Starlink now, and it's changed the way we live at camp.
Yes, Elon Musk.
Thank you, Elon. Because we used to have very expensive, slow internet.
Jeez.
You know, like
wouldn't it be
4 up,
fast?
2 down,
Oh
or 4 up, 2 down.
Yeah.
Now we're into the hundreds of almost gigabyte internet, right? And now we can have smart TVs in our rooms.
Yeah.
You know, and that's just now I can upload. My boss used to go, Blair, you upload one more high quality freaking video off this internet, I'm gonna kill you. You know, so that that now I can work on stuff at work. You know, and on my off time. I'm not doing it at work.
Yeah, I don't know. You just said that.
But yeah, no, it's for me going forward. You know, it's working with Alex Hansen. You know, I think we got some stuff in the works.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, I'm moving to Sycamoose. So I work super cheap, like free, right now because I want to learn.
So you're gonna pay people to film?
Well, basically, yeah. You know, because it'll cost me, but I need the athletes in front of the camera,
right? For
sure. So, you know, and that just helps me. It's multi-beneficial, right? You know,
100%.
You'll get the footage, not the raws, but you'll get the footage.
Yeah.
You know,
you'll get
don't
the
ever
cuts.
do that. Don't ever ask for raws unless you're paying for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, just getting out on the snow and having fun. You know, and I always like to ride with different people. You know, different demographics. I don't young, old, pro, not pro.
Right.
You know, because we're all like-minded. You know.
For sure.
So yeah, going in the future, you know, I'm going to be 45. I've only got a finite time left.
Yeah.
You know, so I got to pack it in. And you know, I'll do it as long as I can. You know, and stuff like that. Yeah.
So I guess with that, like you wanting to ride with certain people or with you know everybody that's in snowmobile, like who would be the one person that you would want to ride with if like you were to stop tomorrow?
Ooh, that's a toughie.
Yeah.
You know,
out of everybody, come on.
Probably Caleb.
Okay.
Caleb, you know, Dan Adams.
Yeah.
I like Dan Adams. He's what he's done for the snowmobile industry. He's a nice guy, you know. I actually never met him.
Okay.
I've talked online with him, and you know, he's on the same team with me as Bikeman.
Yeah.
But that guy's an OG.
Yeah.
You know, those OGs have got those clinics, right? And guiding things. So you could show up there as long as you got the money. You know, they'll teach you, and they've grown this sport more than anybody. Brandt and all those guys, and then their guys who work for them end up leaving and starting their own, and it just grows the sport. So yeah, I'm gonna say Dan Adams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's definitely a big hitter, and he rode with Chris Morant, and didn't he ride with Kincaid a lot too?
Yes, they're all from that Idaho, Victor, Idaho, Jackson Hole area, and you know, they're those guys. They were doing it when it wasn't cool.
Right.
There was no social media.
Right.
We had the sled videos, right?
Yeah,
you had your sled necks,
yeah.
your Thunderstrucks.
Yeah.
You know, where you had to have a budget.
Right.
You know, you know, Morardi was, you know, the kind of godfather of that, you know, with the sled neck stuff. But, you know, big cameras, you know, big budgets, helicopters, you know, there's no drones, you know. So you only had so many shooting days, so you had to have the best guys. You know, they could pull the stuff off.
Right. Yeah. You know what's funny is, like, when I started really investing myself into snowmobiling, or snowcross, I should say, I watched a lot of 509.
Yeah,
and
100%.
I think it was Volume 9.
Yep.
It was the year that they went to Sycamoose. And Jay Menaberry.
Yep.
I can't remember where he rode, but the end of the video was their big trip in Sycamoose, and they rented jet skis. They had a big boat, and they were doing, you know, and then they went and rode, and that was like the end of the video. I think it was.
Well, it would have been in Sycamoose because the lake doesn't freeze in Sycamoose. So they would, right. So you could ride. You know, because those lakes are huge. That Shwooshwap lakes. They're 100 kilometers long, hundreds of kilometers long.
Right.
So a lot of them will take barges over.
Yeah.
You know, if you saw any of the link stuff, they took a barge over to get over these mountain passes, right? You know, but you had to take a barge there. And Alex did something similar with Kanyanggi, where they took a little barge over to the other side of the lake and just to access a new area.
Wow.
You know, they had the sleds on there. You know, the water was glass. Alex was doing his thing, right? You know,
dude.
You know, and it was a great. You know, Khan's a sender.
Right.
You know, he's a Chinazi. He's Australian and I think he's half Chinese. Yeah.
Hey.
And he's a sledder.
Jeez.
So, but you know, just doing and it's I believe everybody in this industry has a story, from beginner rider to the pro.
For sure.
You know, and telling those stories because people sacrifice to do these sports.
Right.
Family time, money, work.
Right.
You know, and everyone has a story. And we're all storytellers. You know, some do it better than others. You know, some just don't want to do it at all. They just want to ride.
Right.
You know, and that's cool too. But I want to be one of those storytellers.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
So
that fills your cup, like you
that
were saying.
fills my cup, man. Yeah, that fills my cup.
I like that analogy.
Yeah. I'm not much of a half cup guy.
Me neither.
Right?
Me neither.
Yeah. So,
I like to have a thrill and know that I did something.
It makes you feel alive. It's where I've felt the most alive in my life. You know, on the good end, on the bad end. You know, when you're downhill power touring down the glacier in 3-4 feet of snow. It is incredible, and with the backdrop of like the I don't want to say names, but of the areas we ride in, it's magic, man. And and the sunrise and the sunsets are just
impeccable.
Dude, if you just sit there and just sit on your sled, have a water.
You could say beer.
Have a beer, a Canadian cigarette, and just soak it in, man. You know, you're lucky to be here. You know, the chances of you being here are undeniably, and to do what you love to do and sit there and enjoy, just sit there sometimes. Shut the machine off, let the sun go down.
For sure.
You know. But most of us are trying to get a wheelie into the sun.
Yeah, no kidding.
Right? Yeah. So.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. So, is there a spot that you would want to ride? Like, how many zones have you rode before?
I've rode, wow.
Is there I guess from watching videos and watching other pros, is there
if I never had to ride somewhere else again in my life and I could only pick one?
I guess so, sure. Because I know Baran and the whole 509 team, they went out to Russia in Volume 9, I think it was.
Yeah.
And I was just like, holy crap, that's got to be crazy.
Yeah. There are some pretty exotic places to ride that you never think. Tomas, Bjornsson, he owns Tubi Underwear. He says there's a spot in Spain.
Really?
That you can go, and it's a snowmobile community. I can't remember the and they got tons of snow. And you would never think Spain to go snowmobiling, right?
No, you think heat.
But they got high elevation, right?
Yeah.
And this is I wish I had a better brain.
You're doing pretty good.
Yeah. Those exotic places, like Chile.
Yeah.
I'd love to go to Chile.
Yeah.
Because it's in the off season, but it's extremely expensive.
Right.
And I'm only going there when the snow's deep.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ride corn.
No, or rocks.
I get it. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey.
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong, I want good snow.
For sure.
There's that snow snob in me.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah, those exotic, Russia. Yeah, like you go to the volcano.
Right.
I've watched all those. And Russia's got terrain that, I follow some of the Russian riders. Even through the war, they're still riding their snowmobiles, right? But if I never had to ride, I got this. We have this place. I don't want to say it. That it's about an hour from my house.
Okay.
And it's in the Columbia Valley. It's got a glacier on it, and it's got pillow fields for days. And if I could never ride it, it's got tree riding. And you could hit those pillows all day long, and that's the spot. You got high elevation riding, you got tree riding, you got pillows, you got jumps, and the backdrop's incredible. The backdrops is the Bugaboo Mountains, which is a huge hiking area for hikers, and the backdrop, it's we've done Alex has done a lot of filming at that spot.
Yeah.
And that right there, and even in behind my house is the St. Mary's Valley.
Right.
I go back there all the time, and I'm just spots I've never even seen.
Right.
And you just sit there, and it's vast.
Right.
I fly up to work. I fly over BC into the Yukon. I look out the window. I'm a window seat guy.
Yeah.
If I don't get a window seat, I'm upset.
But what if you have to pee?
Well, then you're moving. You're moving. Yeah, you're moving quick.
You stick your butt out when you're trying to get through this.
Right, 100%. But I see, we fly, at 37,000 feet, and if on a clear day, man, there's stuff no one man has ever stepped foot.
Right.
Those mountains are vast.
Right.
And they're thousands of kilometers long, all the way up into Alaska. I haven't rode up at work because usually it's too cold in the winter to ride up at work. Guys that are in the Yukon, they'll ride more into March and April and May and June.
Yeah.
Because it's just I've rode in minus 30. It ain't fun.
No.
Especially mountain riding because you're moving a lot.
Yeah. And you're creating a lot of heat. And
you're creating a lot of heat if you stop.
Yeah.
I don't give a how good of goggles you got, but you're going to get cold.
Yeah, and if you're sweating you're going to create 100%. Hypothermia.
Yeah, I almost lost the tip of my nose. Your neck warmer will stick to your neck.
Right.
You'll have to jump in your truck, crank the heat before you can get it off.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't want that.
No, you got a thought.
I'll let you guys have that over here.
Oh, come on, man. I was in Canada one year, and it was negative 30, man.
You go back.
In negative 40, the wind chill.
With the wind chill,
your eyelids start to, your eyelashes start to freeze.
See, we're in the mountains. I live in Kimberley, and we have our cold snaps, but because of where the mountains are set up, they're microclimates.
Right.
We're talking -5, -10 Celsius.
Yeah.
You know, not Fahrenheit.
What is that like? Maybe
4
or 5?
40s or 50s? Is it? No.
I thought it
30s?
thought it went by 10s. 10s or 15s.
I wasn't much of a school person.
Yeah, me neither.
That's why I'm here.
You just like to ride snowmobile.
Yeah, I said, yeah. You
stuff.
didn't need much for school when you come to the bar, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, for sure. Yeah, riding in those cold temps is crazy.
Yeah, like I'll stay home.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we'll get caught in an inversion. So
Yeah.
that's when it is warmer up top than it is down low. You'll come
For
through the
sure.
cloud cover and break into, you know, it might be minus 25.
Yeah.
And then you get up there and it's only minus 10. But remember, you got to come back down
Yeah.
through that. And then you're like, oh, full sun up there, and it looks cool.
Yeah.
Because you're only getting the tips of the mountains.
Right.
So you got that cloud cover in the
Yeah,
valley
yeah.
and lakes for awesome shots. But, you know, you're running hard up there, you know, and then you've got a trail ride,
Down.
you know,
Yeah.
30K. And everything starts to freeze.
Right.
You know, and that's, you know, if it ain't covered up, you know, well, you may lose it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oof.
You know, and you're sweating, you know, and everything's frozen up, and the sleds start to freeze up because it's been so warm up there. All the water and stuff's getting right through it, right? Now it starts to freeze.
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a challenge and a half.
But this is, you know, mountain riding and snowmobiling is not for the lighthearted.
Right.
You know, that's why it attracts the same type of people.
Right.
You know, and those are the type of people I want out there.
Adrenaline junkie.
Adrenaline junkies, yeah. That do it in a safe manner, you know.
Right.
That are not, don't get me wrong, there's some reckless guys out there, but, you know, you'll get caught.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your number will come.
For
you
sure.
know, and then there's no second chance.
My dad's always told me when I started riding like quads and dirt bikes, he's like, never get comfortable. You know, because then once you get comfortable, it's gonna bite you.
It's a healthy amount of fear.
Yeah,
right.
You gotta know that you're.
That it's, you know, but there's those. Oh, dude, that there's just a disconnect.
Yeah.
I got a buddy that I ride with all the time, Josh Stenhouse, Boosted Supra. He's got an Arctic Cat. He's the disconnect guy.
Oh boy.
He started sledding a couple of years ago. He got it real quick, really quick. Super talented, but there's a disconnect there.
Yeah.
You know, where he's just wild, man. He just fires through the trees, whips that sled over his head. Well, he breaks a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
You know.
No, thank you.
Yeah. So, but, you know, it's good because you can push yourself.
Right.
To, you know, farther than the safer guy.
Right.
You know,
100%.
if you're willing to risk that, you know, you can still risk in a safe way, right? You know, long as you're not cutting across me on a slope above my head, right?
Yeah.
You know, and those things, that'll get you kicked out of groups and stuff like
For
that,
sure.
you know, because
being really reckless.
Really reckless. You know, one guy on a slope at a time, you know,
Yeah.
and we've all learned this from multiple deaths. And it's sad when you lost your life doing something you love.
Right.
You don't get me wrong. You know, people say, man, well, at least he ain't here anymore.
Yeah.
He can't do it again.
Right.
You know, and
All we
our
got
memories
is-
are short.
Yeah.
And it fades away, and then, you know, and then that's, you know, like I said, you only have a finite amount of time.
For sure.
You know, and if you can do it young and your dad's into it, and, you know, I know a lot of young riders that, you know, I got some in the Kootenays that are, you know, 16, 17, 18 years old, and these kids are good.
Right.
And they get it.
Right.
They don't know, you know, they don't understand quite the media part yet, you know, because, your talent's great, but your talent's only going to take you so far unless you learn the other end of the business, you know, the media part.
Right.
Because, you know, these kids, they get they'll perform for me good, right? So
Right.
I get, you know, like, the media's free for them, right? You know. But they, you know, I'm like, listen, you guys are gonna have to learn the other end of the spectrum of this. You know, if you wanna, you know, I'll help you along the way.
Right.
You know, but if you want to get sponsored, and if you want to, your talent's just not going to do it, right? Your cell phone videos,
Yeah,
you know,
you gotta start
you're
stepping it up.
shaking, you know, and you know, you're going to have to learn it. You know, 4 years invest in a camera. Put your $500 here, $500. You know, the new.
Right.
You can do a lot with, you know, a Sony A7S III.
Right.
You know, if you learn how to use it.
Right.
You know, that's what Alex has used. He used an A7S III.
Yeah.
You know, it's only 12 megapixels.
Yeah.
That's it. Because
and you got 124K.
Well, 124K, right?
Yeah.
You know, and he does amazing things with that camera.
Right.
You know, he come from a bigger setup back in the day, but you can't just take that stuff out there. But now, like I said, he rides with it here, and he can catch it quick as it's happening, right? You know,
you need that.
Yeah, you need that because things are happening, especially in the trees where it's tight.
Yeah.
You know, you can't set up.
Right.
You know, but you can just stop quickly, pull it out, put it up, and you can catch that.
Yeah.
You know, and I find if you catch them incognito or, you know, and they're not knowing you're filming, it's different.
Yeah.
But once you tell them you're filming, I don't fuck with their head. The pros, it doesn't fuck with their head because they're that good, right? You know.
For sure.
But I don't get to ride with pros all the time, so.
What pros have you ridden with?
Like factory riders?
Yeah, I guess so.
I think only one, Gabby Hockley.
Okay.
Yeah.
Polaris?
She's a Polaris. Yeah, she's a Polaris. So woman in factory rider. She just lives down the road from me.
Oh, no
she's
kidding.
In Cranbrook. Yeah. So she's a climb rider. She's a factory rider. She grew up riding in the mountains.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So she's got the try. She's a good rider. She's a professional wake surfer in the summer. So she's a double threat.
Yeah.
You know, and she's learned early on how important the media is, right? You know, and like she keep up with the boys, no problem. if not, smoke them,
right?
You know, and she's good. Polaris is invested big into her, and she's a super nice person,
right?
But yeah, no, I haven't had too many opportunities. Like I've ridden with real talented guys, which they could be pro.
Right.
But I think that, that factory ride just, don't get me wrong. I guess guides are pros because they're getting, you go to Collar-Cluster Mountain Park and those guides are as good as any pro rider.
Right.
They come up through Carl, they're very level 3 avalanche guys. They're very safety oriented and they ride all day. Right. They ride every day. 7 days a week, 130 days a year.
Eat, sleep, ride.
This is my buddy David. I'll let him. Those guys, they're pros too.
Right.
But I think the way this works is the factory ride.
For sure.
Yeah, but Muskoka. Look at Muskoka.
Right.
He's not a factory rider, but I think he's his own brand in itself.
Right.
Where he's nurtured that brand. Where he's the brand, he's the rider. Right. I don't think it would be beneficial for him to maybe go on with Skidoo because he's his own brand.
Right.
And then once you become a factory rider, you
things change.
Things change. You have to follow
their
guidelines. So you can't be edgy. You can't. They want a family fun. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure Brand, those guys, they have leeway and they've pushed the sport. And they talk to the engineers and they've made those mountain sleds. Like Brand gets all those sleds to work on. If you want to learn to work on sleds and build sleds, show up at Brand store and say I'll work for free.
100%.
Yeah, I'll work for free.
Doesn't he have like the lightest?
They
carbon
fiber. Although I think if Muskoka's building a lightweight one. Oof. Yeah, and like from scratch, like his own molding and stuff like that.
Well, like a carbon fiber frame.
Yeah, like he's doing all his own molding. If you watch his stories, he puts snippets in there. But YouTube has allowed him to do that. With the Sea Boys.
Right.
I'm a triple digit subscriber. Because I used to come play hockey up here, right?
Yeah.
We used to want to collect trophies from the Americans, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So I knew where Cormorant was.
Yeah.
I know where Red Wing is. I know where Cloquet is. I know where all those St. Croix, all those. Could play baseball here too, although you guys just smoked us. It's
I'm not even from Minnesota, dude.
No, Wisconsin?
No, East Coast, man, New York.
Oh, New York, New York.
New York, 2 hours from New York City.
So I used to live in Kingston, Ontario, and Alexander Bay is on the other side of New York. So I've been to New York State a couple times where Bolt Castle is and stuff like that along the St. Lawrence Seaway.
Okay.
But where were we again?
Me?
What were we talking about again?
Oh, we were talking about lightweight sleds and your buddy.
Yeah, Muskoka's building.
But then you were talking about playing hockey up here?
Yeah, there's my ADHD.
Yeah. Squirrel.
Yeah, right, gone. But yeah, so I knew it. So, like, the success of the C-Boys, like,
Yeah.
once that YouTube revenue starts to roll in, you could do cooler things. You know, you could buy things, which is a write-off.
Yeah.
Everything's a write-off, you know, and you can grow your own brand where then you're the sponsor.
Right.
You sponsor yourself.
Right.
Then you can do your own things, and then you become a brand.
Yeah.
And then when you're kind of brand, you can get those brand deals.
Yeah.
That pay extremely well.
100%.
In commercial, in vlog or in thing. And those C-Boys, they've done amazing things.
Yeah.
You know, they're just a bunch of buddies that were early enough in the game to film themselves and put it out there on YouTube before the algorithm changed.
Right. And
now it's just a flood. It's tough. Tough out there, man.
For sure.
Yeah.
I know it's crazy that you bring that up because it's like I work with a whole bunch of different brands.
Yep.
And I tell them, don't even worry about the algorithm. Create your own algorithm, and then the algorithm will actually work for you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody's worried about this whole algorithm thing, and it's like just
put the content out. Just put it out. Keep pumping it out. Yeah.
I post 3 times a day.
On shorts.
Well, shorts. I do some photos here and there. You know, it depends on what the audience wants.
Right.
But a lot of my followers are shorts and reels and you know, podcasts and stuff like that, collabing.
Yeah.
But that's my niche. Is like post a lot, but post good content. Don't just post. You know, like random shit. Post stuff that's.
But yours is informational content along with high-end content.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. I have a mix of it all.
Right,
you know,
right.
like, but that's just me. You know, I do my own thing, and everybody's got their own thing. But like, yeah, what you're saying is, you know, some people are losing their algorithm with YouTube and stuff like that. Like their views are starting to drop. You know,
and when you're financially dependent on YouTube, it's a huge thing, right? Because if that's your niche or your thing, and your revenues start to drop, and that's your job, what do?
Right.
And then you see people try to pivot.
Right.
And it doesn't work.
Right.
You know, I think we're getting covered up here.
Oh, that's all good.
Yeah. So yeah, you know, that's where I still have a job.
Right.
You know, I still got a, you know, thing because I'm just not there yet, right? You know, and snowmobiling is niche, especially mountain snowmobiling.
Right.
And if we could bring her to a bigger audience, you know.
The problem is it's only, 4 months out of the year?
That's it. That's all you get.
Yeah, you get 4 months out of the year, and it's like,
yeah,
that's it. Unless you go overseas and, you know, I don't know. You really can't do much. It's not like motocross and supercross where it's year-round.
Year-round, 100%.
You know, that's the sucky thing.
Yeah, 100%.
So, I don't know.
Well,
it's hard to say. You know?
See you looking at your watch.
Yeah, I know. I kind of got to get out of here.
No, this has been fun. I'm never really comfortable in front of the camera. That's why I'm behind the camera most of the time. Cause, you know, but this has been good.
Cool.
This has been good.
For sure. I think we should do more of it, obviously.
Yeah, 100%.
I like talking to people and getting...
I got always something to say.
Yeah, for sure.
Always got something to say.
Like, you being a writer and then wanting to go into the filming realm is definitely a cool thing, you know, seeing your aspect of it, where you came from, all the stories are cool. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
podcasts are becoming a huge thing now, man. They're becoming a thing of their own.
Right.
You know, and you get to hear those stories. Like, you listen to, you know, Rogan or Joey Diaz or, you know, all those guys, and you're like, and I'm just captivated, especially Joey Diaz. Great storyteller.
Yeah.
It could be bullshit. Who knows? But it doesn't matter. It's entertaining.
Right.
And he's a great storyteller.
Right.
And that's what you got to be, right?
For sure.
You got to be that great storyteller. And then, obviously, if you're going to be a filmer, those visuals got to be there.
Yeah, you got to be a visionary in well, visionary in everything, you know, whether it's photography, video, cinema, whatever, you know.
Right.
Even social media, you got to be a visionary.
Yeah, 100%. You know? Yeah, and you got to work at it all the time.
Yeah.
You got it 3 times a day.
It's crazy. Yeah. I get drained so much just from looking at my phone.
Yeah, for sure. So I used to have great vision, and I'm staring at my phone all the time.
The blue light,
The blue light, and it wasn't. I went and got my eyes checked, and I had high cholesterol.
Wow.
And that caused my close-up vision to go. So I got to go to the doctor. Yeah, nearsighted. Far, I'm still good, but Here, it just everything gets blurry.
Right.
But so some diet changes, and I'm probably gonna have to start working out. I'm 45 freaking years old, and I got to keep up with these guys.
Right.
So you got to get ahead of it.
For sure.
Yeah, you got to get ahead of it for sure.
Well, I think we're gonna wrap it up.
All right.
I appreciate you
thanks for letting me come on. Yeah,
for sure. Well, you texted me. And
nobody wants me on their podcast.
Why?
I was like, I don't know.
Jeez. You got a lot of good stories, man, and you're very insightful. You know, even though you said earlier you don't really have a brain, but I'm like, dude, you can talk.
It's the ADHD's bad.
That's all good.
Yeah.
I
go 100 different directions, go nowhere. Right?
Well, it makes it more exciting that way because you never know what you're gonna say.
Yeah. Jillian's coached me at work when I said, hey, let's do the podcast. You know how much I ran this through my head?
Yeah.
All day at work. Just don't say anything dumb. Don't give too much away. But you still, it's part of your story, right?
Keep it spicy.
Yeah, everyone loves the tea, right? Yeah. So thanks for having me on.
Yeah,
appreciate
absolutely.
it. Yeah, it was awesome.
If you guys would follow him on
Captain
social
Chaos.
media, Captain Chaos. On social media, you're on TikTok, Facebook. Your TikTok blew up, right?
TikTok blew up, with a couple viral videos, and that's where a lot of the brand deals come from because of the 50,000+.
Right.
So I spent time working on the Instagram.
Right.
It's tougher, and YouTube's even tougher.
Yeah.
So go like, subscribe, and share.
Yes. Do all that.
Yeah.
Follow him on all the social media pages. I appreciate you being on here.
Thank you for letting me have
Absolutely.
Come on.
Thank you for DMing me, sliding into my DM as they call it.
Yeah.
If you guys like this podcast, hit the like button. Drop a comment below what part you enjoyed. Definitely drop a comment below if you are following him on Instagram or anything like that. Hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you guys in the next podcast.
Peace.
Cool.